Purchase orders can be connected to internal expense budgets, including those defined in Adagio Ledger, to assist in managing when purchases are allowed. To enable the Event Budget feature, in the Company Profile and on the Entry Defaults tab, select the option to use Event Budgeting, which reveals several related functions. Also in the Company Profile, you can set event budgets to be enabled on new purchases by default, or force a valid event budget value to be entered onto every purchase order. On the System Options tab, determine the behavior if a purchase will result in going over budget, either just a warning, prevent posting altogether, or allow posting but prevent printing or emailing a form to the vendor. When enabled, you then define what the budget values are from the Edit menu and Event Budgets. Manually create a budget item, either by copying an existing event budget or set up a new one. At its simplest, give the event budget a unique code of up to 6 characters and a description, the total budget dollar value, and the amount spent against this budget thus far. Perhaps the event is for a specific stock or non-stock item, or a ledger account or department, or materials for a customer job. You may track not only the budget in monetary terms, but from the budget tracking option, you may choose either just quantity budgeting or both quantity and money. Ensure you have the desired choice, as this field is not editable after saving. If you only want to keep track of what was purchased, but not prevent any purchases using this event budget from being made, choose a budget type of statistical, or choose prohibitive to follow the over-budget behavior defined in the company profile. To prevent the number of event budget records from getting too large, it is useful to define an event with a set of sub-events for better organization. Click the New button to create a sub-event. Perhaps an event is a ledger expense account number, and sub-events could be created for each department, or each month, or a combination of both. Whatever the organization, each sub-event has its own respective budget amount and quantity, which are handled independently when used. Leave the period field blank to create an annual sub-event budget, or enter a number to represent a month or quarter or other meaningful date period. There are 2 other ways to create event budgets, more than one at a time. One way is to retrieve budget values from Adagio Ledger, where you can select one or more accounts and any associated departments. These event budgets will be created with the account code as the main event value, and departments as sub-events, if those are used in Ledger. If you only want one annual budget for each department, enable Consolidate GL Period, which will leave the period field blank on the sub-events. Disabling this option will generate separate monthly budgets as sub-events for each department if used, within the account. Also, this retrieval process can be used to refresh new budget amounts, only for existing event budgets, by disabling the option to allow new budgets. With this enabled, both new event budgets and refreshing existing budgets will take place. The other way to create or update event budgets is by importing from an external file like Excel, from the File menu, Import, and Event Budgets. Choose whether you are only updating existing budgets, creating new budgets, or both. When importing, you must bring in all sub-events and periods at once. You cannot update just one sub-event or period. On the Defaults tab, indicate whether sub-events will be used for all or none of the budgets. In the import file, you can specify the sub-event code whether it's an annual or periodic budget, and all other information that is manually editable. Click the Import button to create or update the budgets from the file. When entering purchase order transactions, you need to enable the Event Budget checkbox on the Header tab to track the purchase against the budgets. If event budgets are forced, then this checkbox will be selected and cannot be removed. There are 3 separate fields for the event code, sub-event code, and period. You may choose to enter a default event budget value here, either for the main event code only or one of the sub-events, if most or all the details will use the same budget. On the Details screen, for any inventory or sundry item, the Event Budget checkbox and default values will be automatically filled in, and the checkbox will not be editable if event budgets are forced. Enter a valid event budget, main or sub-event with the item. Regardless of the defined over-budget action, saving the detail will not warn at this time that a budget has been exceeded. It is when you attempt to post the purchase order that the warning appears, if one is set to appear. This warning will also indicate if posting is prohibited, if that is the defined action, and you will be unable to post this purchase order until no event budgets are exceeded. Otherwise, you can continue to the PO number screen and then post the transaction. If you are prohibited from printing, then clicking the Print button will give a message, indicating that this is not currently possible. Ensure purchases are made only within the allowed budget categories. Find out more about Adagio from the product page on our website. Watch another training video on this Adagio program from the playlist, or subscribe to the Adagio YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.